Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. This is an exhibition sequence that is going to be performed this year. And the team is asking for some feedback as to what can be improved. And we'll go over this. This might be a bit of a long video. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I guess the team has just entered. Looks like obviously they're marching. So let's see what's going on here. So let's look at this. There's a couple of things here. So let's look at the step technique first. So you're doing a form of a goose step, which is fine, not a problem at all. However, look what she's doing. She's heel striking here, but everybody else is whole foot striking. So watch everybody's feet. And you can see the young lady here behind her. She is just barely coming down. Let's do this sideways. Barely coming down, heel striking, but rolling forward still. So whereas everybody else is coming straight down with that whole foot. All right, and then this cadet behind here, this young man right here, everybody else is slightly bending the knee, but then bringing the foot out and smacking it down. Now watch his step technique. So what he's doing is more of a stomp and not the goose step. So he's bending his knee a little bit more, bringing the foot forward, but if you look, his foot is stomping right next to his toe, the toe that's already down, bringing it up and stomping, and not coming out and then coming to the stomp, and coming out and stomp, coming out and stomp. Now the goose step does have, it's not necessarily a stomp as I would call it. The cadet back here, he's actually stomping. Everybody else is not necessarily stomping. It's more of the goose step. It does come out with pretty much the same, but you can see here how he lifts his foot much more than everybody else. So we have 3 different step techniques going on. She needs to have longer trousers, definitely. High school kids grow. They shoot up like a rocket in a couple of months, and then a few months later, they'll probably do it again. It just happens. All right. So I wish the video had started earlier. I'd like to see the opening statement. What are you doing to draw your viewers' attention when you first start? Even before you start marching, is there something that you're doing to draw everybody's attention over to where you're starting? Oh, hey, look at that. Or is it just forward march? Now here, I'll go back just a little bit. So quick time, not exactly what you want to do in exhibition drill. Also, who is she? Is she the first element leader, or is she the guide? Because right now it's interesting. These 3 look to be element leaders out of alignment, but she looks to be the guide. You can see, I understand that the elements are probably staggered. I'm quite sure she's first element leader. But can you see my point here? As we look there, this is good. So as we look, she's sticking way out in front. She is in line with her, fine. but then he is almost in line with her. Why is that? Why is he not back here? So you have the staggered effect, but the stagger is pretty severe. Not severe in that it's a negative, but you have the first element leader here, second element leader starting back here. So this is first element, second element, and then you have third element, and the stagger there on third, from second to third element, just barely a foot, barely 12 inches. So that's something that you definitely need to consider here. And also with the stomp, Commander, even you're heel striking here. Your left foot is hitting hole, your heel is striking on your right foot. So there isn't, and I don't mean this to be insulting. This looks lazy. Your goose step looks lazy. It's just, not really doing much here. You did something with the rifles at the beginning, and the video picked up where third element finished that. Maybe it was a ripple sequence, first, second, and third. And that's but can you see, Commander, how your right foot is striking with the heel, and then left foot is striking with the whole foot. Saying quick time here just doesn't work. It really doesn't. You really should have a number of steps to where you step off at you goose step in, then you step off with a normal pace, and then just transitioning right there, just kind of going, just increasing the tempo there. There really isn't much of it's a very smooth transition. It doesn't really keep the audience's attention so far. You've had plenty of steps to do more work with the rifles as well, and you really haven't used them. You're an armed drill team, and you're not doing much in that armed area. So the stagger, I really think, needs to be reconsidered as to how extreme or how little the stagger you want. Count your number of steps that you want to come in the goose step, and then execute a stomp. And I mean a stomp. You can goose step, halt, then come up and bring that foot back with a nice stomp, and then step off. I think that would be so much more not only precise, but it would be something entertaining to give the audience. So giving the mark time harch through here, this wasn't this is kind of exhibitionized regulation drill, at least not the drill itself, but the terms. Commands really don't fit in well with exhibition drill. Nice execution there, team. That really worked well. Nice. Yeah, that works well. That's great. Good. And it looks like pretty uniform technique. So just to highlight over this, make sure that the left foot is completely on the marching surface. You have a right angle with that left knee. Try to have a right angle with the right knee as well, so that you're completely standing up from waist up, but then your right leg, the upper part of your right leg, goes straight down, and then that knee angles out. You won't have a complete right angle because the right toe is on the marching surface. But this looks quite sharp. laying the rifle across the left thigh. The grips are consistent except right here. But then again, he's quite a bit taller. But these two are holding the, well, actually, all the girls here are holding their rifle well above where he is, and actually this does look better. This looks a bit awkward with the grip so low on the upper handguard. So now you're seconds. This is where I stopped earlier. Please don't do that. Don't execute, we don't execute little facing movements in the military. This is all the service. We don't do little tiny facing movements. If the judge is over to your right or even left, then all you have to do is you come to present. If you're going to execute that present, you come to present, and then you look to the judge and report in, report out. I would suggest something a little more flamboyant for you, Commander, instead of the standard present arms, because you've got the whole team at a nice exhibition position. It works well. And then the face back with the about face. See, this is all just regulation drill stuff. There needs to be something else that you do in this situation. So doing this, Commander, that doesn't work either. So you sounded like you said forward march. So forward march. Now I'm definitely not going to blow your ears out. My voice can, but just because you're doing this doesn't necessarily mean that does anything for projecting your voice. It doesn't. So keep your shoulders still and then project your voice. Use your diaphragm muscle that's separating your lungs from your intestines, and have that muscle tighten and push that air out forcefully so that you can execute the command well. So timing a little bit off there, but it's a work in progress, I'm guessing. And here, with them stopping and waiting for your command, it just kills the momentum. The report in is expected, so you have that momentum paused, really, for that report in and also for the report out. But there, the expectation is that, okay, you've just said order arms or whatever the command is that you gave. Now we're ready to go, and you just stopped. Forward march, yeah. Not bad spacing, really. A little bit wide here. So, Commander, why aren't you in the line? Nice exchange. Why did you three sidestep that way? Now, I'll reserve my comments here just for a sec. I want to watch the development of your drill. All right, so let me. I just want to look. So that's close to a line. There, you're back in the line. I thought you would go back into a line. Okay, and then you're in front of it. So honestly, yeah. Okay. So you're back into the single file line there, and I understand it takes up some time, but really I would highly suggest that you move some of your moves around and stay in the line. You especially since you're just going to go back into it, you're farther away from your audience with that other line. You're closer here, which is much better for the impact that your work can have on your audience. And revisiting the line is, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. It can get monotonous. Even doing it just the twice, it still can be monotonous. I suggest consolidating everything into this line here and then moving on with the drill afterwards. So having said that, Commander, you need to be in the line. You're not armed with a sword. Any commander who's armed with a sword really cannot step into the line, that company front line, and effectively be part of the drill team. You, however, since you're armed with a rifle, definitely you fit in and it works well. And the reason why I was checking is because right after this, you then separate into your three elements again, and that's fine, not a problem. It just wouldn't work if you're never going to be in that line again if the commander stepped in. So having this be so short, then commander really needs to stay out. Still, though, you're not hiding, but there's a dimension. So your audience, obviously your audience is here. You're here, commander, and then your team is here. So if you're the audience, you're my audience, and I did this. If I did this, there. All right. So my microphone is. You can still kind of see me. I can pull it down just a bit. There we go. So you can still see me, but it's awkward. It's something in front of me so that you can't see me all that well. Now, maybe some of you really don't want to, and that's fine. So go watch something else. But the point is that you don't want anything in between your performance. What I'm doing now is a kind of performance. You don't want anything between your audience and the performance. So me putting this anywhere else, we're used to seeing microphones wherever they are, and that's fine. That's how we can be picked up. Even those wearable microphones, we're used to seeing those all around, and having them out of the picture more or less. See, you can see me quite clearly, and I've got my microphone over here, so it's out of the way. Commander, you need to also be out of the way. All right. You're performing everything that the team is doing, so get in there. But since it's so quick, it wouldn't be all that prudent for you to be in there for just a few seconds. So if you consolidate both of the lines, then I think you might, or the performance portion of both those lines, if you bring all of that that second line into the first, and then perform really anything else at that second part, and we'll go over that as soon as we get to that second line. I really think it could work. And instead of calling halt, see, what are you doing? If you're doing that for alignment's sake, you're just not working all that well. You really need to keep your spacing and alignment, definitely, with your audience. So let's also look at heels and how the feet are angled as well. Really big angle here, not so much here. No heels touching, heels not touching there. But stepping over to align yourself, that just shows you haven't practiced enough, and practice is really essential. Timing and execution here. Oh, I see. This really works well when the whole team is together. That's awesome. And so back here, she was ready to just push off right there. She was ready to go as soon as everyone was finished with going to right shoulder. And honestly, I think you should do that without the command. Alignment needs to be much better. You just rotated, and you're just not hitting it. Honestly, practice. You're not hitting the alignment here. But anyway, so after you go to right shoulder, it would be really good to have these three step off, and then everybody else can hear the steps as to what's coming next. And I think that would be very effective instead of you giving a command there, Commander. So work on that execution. That just looks fantastic. Now, when everybody gets the execution down, that's really quite good. Picking up the groups in front of you. Can't really say elements. Elements more or less don't exist, but they do exist, and it really doesn't matter who is where. Into a beta move. Nice. Now, that was good recovery by the young lady there. Actually, really, instead of marching quickly over to where you needed to be, you really just should have stayed over there. Now, again, this comes with practice and experience. I noticed you immediately, only because you started marching quickly to try and zip over to where you're supposed to be. Just march straight. Just go on as if nothing ever happened. Everything's fine. I'm supposed to be here. What you do is you execute your flanking movement that comes up next. You march ahead, and then you just mark time in your position until everybody comes up. You can do it. It works. But you called yourself out by doing that. Whereas it's quite possible nobody would have noticed. What was that? So, okay. So on that, you called out drill team halt again, and you can see the tiny steps, the almost the unsuredness that happens here. So the end step, and I can go on for a long time about explaining what I call the end step. The end step is that you call drill team halt. This left foot, since it's called on the right this time, it doesn't matter. Drill team halt. End step close. All right? The end step needs to be the same. That's the way you maintain your alignment and your spacing. If it's not the same, then you get variation with alignment and spacing, and the awkward look that you have here is that tiny step. Tiny step, halt. It's just that tiny step. Really, in exhibition drill, it can be anything you want. Tiny step there looks a little strange. And then, Commander, you take a little bit bigger step than the others, and then you move ahead, whereas the whole team is... All right, here's the middle, the second rank. You say, drill team, halt. And this is how you look. This is how you end up. So you start moving away from where you're, the center, where you're supposed to be. Again, exhibition drill, you can be anywhere you want, but be consistent. And I don't get what that was. That really didn't work all that well. Not knowing where you're supposed to be. So it was supposed to be a stagger. Okay. And again, you're in front of the team commander, so you're blocking some of the performance. You're not giving the audience a clear view, and you're a little farther away. Which, you know, it's not a performance killer, but being closer to the audience on with some moves can really be beneficial. And that really doesn't work well at all. So let's say that you have an audience that really isn't all that familiar with exhibition drill, and so you're moving the rifle back and forth, doing a tick-tock variation. Nobody knows what that is because it's all sideways. But once you're facing this way, then people can see the rifle moving back and forth, the pendulum of the rifle. And so I know it's something to do, but the side steps and the pendulum work that you did there, it just doesn't come across well. So, oh, I see. You're pointing to the team, and that works. It just looked odd. So again, if you're closer, then it's a little more readable when you do something like that, and with you covering some of the team, then it's the best situation. And then, what was that, a sidestep again? Yeah, sidestep. You just call attention to yourself. And then out of sequence movement there. So why are you doing things with the team now, Commander, when you weren't earlier? You'd be better off in the team, honestly. If you're armed with a sword, then behind the team would be good. And then the pointing at the team with the sword would be interesting. And I wouldn't go blade first, I'd go with the handle first and make it very flamboyant so that people could pick up on it, easily pick up on it. So a few technique issues on some of the spins here. You can see the unsuredness that comes out with some of the spins. Hold on just a second here. I'll pause. Okay. Mrs. DrillMaster just got home. So for that butt slam, you raised the rifle and you brought it down so that the toe looked like it actually hit your toe, but the toe of the butt of the rifle hit. So I understand silent drill team that's no commands, and we usually think of it as no verbal commands, but these butt slams are commands. So it's still the same thing as if you gave a verbal command, just like you did now. So nice exchanges. I'm just wondering. So why the big toss? Okay, you did it, and I understand it can be a flamboyant part of the performance, something that is a little bit highlighted. Is it really that effective? Is it worth having? You have your cord on, and you have somebody here and here. The commander marches back. Would it be better to have him over here so that you didn't see him, and then the commander could just turn around instead of marching around the end individual? Just asking questions. Now you report out. This is more exhibition drill like. So I would also suggest, especially with the report in formation where you have 3-3-3, layer your visual report in. The visual layering can be your first element is in this kneeling position. Your second element is at a standing position, and then you could even offset them a little bit so that your third is also offset in either a similar or opposite standing position. So you have these layers going up. You can do this easily with this wedge. It's a good, powerful position to be in. It works well, but having everybody at the same level for the wedge isn't just maybe not as effective as it could be. And remember, those little facing movements, try not to do those. That's interesting. Okay. So with his step technique, the one who is at the Liberty position, watching his step technique, is he? No, he could be marching band. With that, he's marching almost a straight leg technique with the heel down. All right. So, how long have I been talking? 36 minutes. Yeah, lots to discuss. I really suggest a bit of a redesign, and everything else can fall into place. I really think that would work well. And what's interesting is if you need something to orient the team differently, you can always put in a circle, a wagon wheel, where the team moves into a circle and then rotates however you want it, and then reforms and moves off. So anyway, I hope my comments are helpful to you. I've hopefully given you something to think about, and whether you choose to redesign or not, that's fine. Definitely the choice is yours, but I would just practice, and get the muscle memory down to where this is just another day's performance when you get into the competition field. Yep, not a problem. We've done this a million times before, type of thing. All right, thanks for the request. I appreciate it.